What's up, everybody? Welcome to the High Level Husband Podcast. I'm Tommy McAllister, and I'm rolling solo today. No Diane, no guest, no nothing. We're going to come in here. We're going to make this quick. We're going to make it impactful and drastically changing for your life. This one is about how to become a godly man and husband. Because just to be a godly husband, you just need to be a godly man. It's not about just being a husband. And that's oftentimes what this is in life. People think, well, it's like, I got to be a better husband. Well, when you're just a better man, you're a better husband, you're a better father, you're a better employee, you're a better business owner, you're a better everything. It's all about being a godly man, and it trickles down to all of that. And so I'm going to break this down real quick with you with some action steps, with some bullet points, and things that you probably have overlooked in your life. First and foremost, you must know the word, and you must have a deep relationship with God, and you must seek first the kingdom of God. Matthew 6:33. If you know any verse, go look at that one. Seek first the kingdom of God, and all of these things will be added to you. All the things that it is, those desires that you want, be an amazing husband, father, business owner, all of that will be added to you when you seek first the kingdom of God. When you seek first the kingdom of God, that's just not you at church getting baptized and accepting the Lord and then living still in and out of a sinful life, just saying, oh, well, God's grace is enough and he loves me. He knows I'm a good person. And you're still out there being of this world. No, the Bible is very clear that you have to do what it says. You can walk away from your salvation. That's 100% biblical, time and time and time again. So with me saying that, when you seek first the kingdom of God, it's doing it God's way. Everybody has the same purpose in life. Jesus said it, but the number one commandment is to love God with all of your heart, all of your soul, all of your mind, and all of your strength. That's the number one commandment. You do that. Second most important commandment is to love your neighbor as yourself. Best way to love your neighbor is if you can love yourself. How do you love yourself? By loving God with all your mind, all your heart, all your strength, and all of your soul. Mix all those up right there. But then lastly, the whole purpose of God, why God has you here, is for a mission in life, and that is to create disciples. How do you create disciples in life? Easy. By showing fruit. God says, you will know my people by their fruit, is what Jesus says. If you don't have fruit in your life, what's going to make anybody want to turn to Jesus? They have to see the light shining off you, the peace, the joy, the self-control, all of this stuff, and being like, I want what they have. And that becomes really special. So that's just an overview. Now, the cool part about the commandment that Jesus says, I think it's Mark 12:20, I believe, is that verse. And he says, love God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, and all your strength. You know what's crazy about that is early on when we started this program, there was 4 pillars. Mental, so all your mind. Spiritual, all your soul. Physical, all your strength. And relational, all your heart. What's great, that's what's crazy is like now God's just putting these pieces together. We just came up with those pillars because we were like, man, those are just important pillars of life. And we were Christians and believers and more than a little believer, but not fully a follower. And boom, now God's combining them all together. So it's just really wild of how this works. Well, how do you do those things? Well, to love God with all of your heart is, like I said, relational, right? Well, to love God that way is through prayer and worship. How to love with all your soul. Your soul's your identity. So you authentic self. How do you love God that way? By spending time with him so you get to know him so he can show you who you are. That's with solitude. How do you do it in your mind? Your mind is like your mental strength, right? But also it's also your wisdom and your knowledge. So how do you do that? By spending time in the word, at church, in community, with other believers. And the last one's your strength. That's using your natural gifts and talents that God's blessed you with to go and bless his people and be a witness and create disciples. That's also your strength is your body, taking care of your temple, taking care of what you put in your mouth, your sleep, your rest, all of these things. So with that being said, I need you to do this. I need you to see everything as an investment into God, into you becoming a godly man. Because the more of a godly man you become, the better husband you are. The better husband you are, the better father you are. The better husband and father you are, the better business owner you are. But you can never say, hey, I'm a phenomenal business owner and that just makes me an amazing husband and father. Rarely does it go that way. It starts with God, you becoming those things, marriage, kids, and the business. So what I'm saying is this right here. Everything we do in life is an investment. So let's just start the end with strength. Most people, America's 65% obese right now. 97% of Americans have either a physical or mental illness. It's a stat I heard somewhere. I don't know 100% if it's true. The stat I heard somewhere. It's probably true because 65% are obese. Throw on all the other mental illnesses and physicals we got. It's probably around that. Right? So if you invest into your strength, so how can I love God the best? By being physically fit. If the strength area, I'm going to be physically fit, because when you're physically fit, you're taking care of this temple that he's given you. Then you feel better. You look better. Your mood is way better. You sleep better. Your body performs better. You're not tired, and all of these things that come with it. The illnesses just don't attack your body from the inflammation of being obese, your heart issues. All of that stuff doesn't happen. You don't sleep bad because when you're obese, you have sleep apnea and all this other stuff. You just perform better. But I'll be real. It feels good to look good. When you look good, you feel good. When you feel good, you do good. Take care of your temple. In the Old Testament, God spent, in, as you guys know this who are actual avid readers of the Bible, there's some chapters and books in the Old Testament that are real snooze fest. I'm not trying to discourage you from read them. But it spends chapter after chapter of how he developed the Ark of the Covenant and how precise he was with that. He was that precise with you. Like, it's insane how our fingernails just grow back. How if we get a cut, our body heals itself. But here's the thing. He made that thing immaculate, the best of the gold and all of the other stuff to make it run so smooth. I mean, to look great, not run smooth, but to look phenomenal. Why didn't he just go, hey, go grab a piece of wood and just grab some brush and throw it on there, but don't worry about it. Put me inside of it. Because the Ark of the Covenant carried some special things. God, right? The tablets and all this other stuff. If you touched it, you died. But here's the thing. We carry God inside of us. Do you not think we're supposed to take care of our temple? If he made this Ark of the Covenant so amazing and beautiful and wanted it to be precise to the measurements, don't you think he wants our body to be precise to the measurements? That's hard to hear for some, but it's the truth. Being overweight, unhealthy, a bad diet, and all of that is not you investing into yourself being a godly man. That's the truth. The Bible talks about you taking care of your temple. Is it just to have six-pack abs and biceps so you can post them on Instagram and then go to the beach and holler at chicks? No. But what it's there for is for you to take care of this temple that God has. And when you just look good, like I said, you feel good. When you feel good, you do good. But it's also show a representation of this man's disciplined. 10 out of 10, 100 out of 100 times somebody walks in the room, I immediately know something about them by the way that they look physically. Does that give me the whole picture? Absolutely not. But at least one part of the picture says they are disciplined, they value their health, and they get the job done. So then if I'm going to maybe do business with them, I already know that about them. But if it's the reverse thing, I think to myself, dang, man, they're struggling with something. They're undisciplined. Man, I don't know if I want to do business with them because, man, they already dropping the ball with themselves. Are they going to drop the ball in these other areas when times get hard? Maybe. Now, that doesn't give you the full picture, but it gives you a slight advantage on that. So with all your strength, take care of your body. When you eat something, see it as an investment into what God has given you. Every single person listening to this thinks about life as an investment. Well, I need to save for retirement. I want to invest in my 401k and insurance plans and do all of these things. I want to have multiple streams of revenue to grow all of this. I want to grow equity in my home. That's all investments to grow your money. Have you ever thought about your life as an investment? When you do this, and I'm going to break this down in all areas. If I decide to eat ice cream, that's me taking money out of my 401k and blowing it on something. When I eat ice cream, that for me is saying, hey, you're not investing into yourself. Now, I'm not saying don't ever have an ice cream cone once a month. But if it starts becoming more than that, that's starting to ruin you're starting to take into your investment. You're going to say, Tommy, that's pretty extreme. Man, I want an extremely good life. And I want to honor God for all that he's done for me. What's one of the most important things we can do for God? Fasting. That plays into the strength and the mind aspect of things. Love God with all your strength and all of your mind. That plays into both because they're both mental and strength, right? We lean on God. He tells you to not eat at all. Not just like, hey, don't eat ice cream. No, not eat anything. So this isn't just a fitness thing. I'm just touching on this. So when you go to the gym, it's an investment into the kingdom as well, because the longer you live, the more people you can create disciples of. And the longer you live, if you're doing this template I'm giving you here to the T, what you're doing is you're gaining wisdom and knowledge. And the older you get, the more disciples you're going to make by that wisdom and knowledge. And so that's all of the strength aspect of things, right? That's also using your abilities and talents to go do those things. I'm going to make this short because I can make this way longer on this. All your strength, do that. It's an investment. All your mind, right? What am I watching? What am I consuming? Because oftentimes we're just driving down the road listening to sports radio, and it's not growing our mind and making us better. Is there a time and place to enjoy that? Yes, maybe 2 hours a week. But if it becomes a big part of our everyday life of listening to sports talk radio and watching games every day and all of this, then guess what? That's stealing from your mind. The more you put into your mind, what happens is you learn more wisdom and knowledge. When you grow if you want to give God all your mind, there's a replica one time somebody says you have 100% in your mind that you can give to God. Typically, it's about 3% that we give to God. We filled it with sports. We filled it with hot chicks. We filled it with money. We filled it with kids' games. We filled it with all this distractions and stresses of the world. And then we're overwhelmed and we find like 3% for God. What if you filled like 80% of that with God and 20% with those other things? Dude, you'd be killing it. You'd have so much wisdom and knowledge that everything be running smoothly. That's love. It says love God with all of your heart. I'm saying like 80% right there because you got other things in there, but you use all those other 20% things for God as well. So then when you're in the word every day, it's an investment. When you're in a men's group and you're showing up to that every week and making it a priority, not just a come and go when you please thing, it's an investment. When you're in church every single week, not a come and go, I'll make it when I can, it's an investment. When you're listening to sermons during the week, extra sermons, it's an investment. When you're listening to spiritual books or podcasts, it's an investment into you becoming a more well-rounded man who becomes more, giving God all of your mind. All of those are an investment into your mind. Let's go to your soul right there. When you're authentically you and not worried about what this world thinks about you, it becomes pretty cool. It becomes absolutely amazing. That's why I love solitude, sitting with God and just listening to his voice and hearing what he has to say, speaking with him, all of that, so you can be your authentic self. The cool thing is when you're authentic, you can be vulnerable because you're not worried about what anybody thinks about you. That's when we can be a joyful person. So spending time with your wife, for example, may not make you money. 1 + 1 = 2 money. That's where a lot of guys are like, man, I could work more hours because I need to make more money to be able to do all these things and all of this stuff. Money doesn't grow your marriage and money doesn't grow you. What it does, though, the investment into your marriage, like I'm going to go out to dinner and I'm going to spend $250 a week on date night with my wife, or I can spend $250 a week on marriage counseling, or I can spend $250,000 on a divorce. One way you're spending money or something, right? But when you invest into date night and you see that as an investment, or you see quality time with your wife every single day instead of working more or watching more sports, what that is an investment into your marriage. Well, when you invest into your marriage, you'll invest into your kids because they'll watch what's happening in your marriage. And it's 100% what God has taught. But because you're going to be an amazing father and husband because of that, you'll feel better. Then what happens? You just make more money because of that. So it in reverse makes you more money down the line and you spend less time. You have more time to give to your family. It becomes really, really cool. Then let's go over here. Well, I just touch one more thing on that. For the longest time, I had a problem be like, man, I just don't see the point. Like, let's just do some cool things with the kids. Like, we can go on hikes, and we would take the kids on trips throughout the year. We go to Disneyland, or we would go to, Mexico or something like that. But still, like with the dinner, we would do it once a week, and that's cool. But sometimes I hated like just spending money on going out to dinner, because I'm like, man, I love eating healthy. Then I go out here, and it's not the healthiest stuff. Not that I always get something that's bad by any means, but it's not the healthiest stuff. And it's just like, you don't get to keep it. And I had a mindset around it. I didn't see it as an investment into time with my kids. I didn't see it as an investment where there was no distractions and we're sitting there talking as a family. I didn't see it as investment. When you go do things with your family, it's an investment. So if you're going to go throw axes with your family, it's an investment. If you're going to go ride go-karts with your family, it's an investment. If you're going to go hiking with your family, it's an investment. Everything you do is an investment. This last one, I'm going to go over here to all of your heart. Your heart's like your feelings and your emotions. Then build that relationship with God. Prayer and worship. When you're at church, you're worshiping God. It's amazing. When you're in prayer, you're giving God all of your heart, and you're coming to him with your thoughts and your anxieties. Where do most people in this world go with their thoughts and anxieties? To their other friends, to porn, to alcohol, to stress eating, to trying to buy more things, or whatever it may be. They go to them with that. And that doesn't make your life any better at all. But that's where we go when we're stressed. But what if you bring your feelings and your emotions to God and just let him love on you? Good things happen. Good things happen. So when you have your disciplines in place where you're physically on point, you're mentally on point, you're relationally on point, and you're spiritually on point, I'm telling you guys, life goes amazing. You have 4 pillars. Remove one of those things, and guess what? Your table looks like it's solid until you set something on that corner and it tips over. You must be all of those things. A godly man attracts other godly men, and other godly men have godly women in their life, and godly women in their life now become godly women for your wife. And then those godly families have godly kids, which then they become godly kids for your life. You inherit a whole culture by you doing that. But you have to have these habits: being in the word, being in church, being in solitude, being in a men's group, fasting, tithing, doing all of that stuff, not to earn God's love, but because you love him, and there's benefits for doing all of those things as well. Denying your flesh, forgiving people, all of that. When you become that godly man, good things happen, but you have to see it as an investment, and you have to see it as important. Because I'll tell you what, the things of this world of like, well, I'm going to make more money and I'll take my kids on more trips and I'm going to buy more cars. I want to give them this amazing life and they're going to play on every sports team. That does not make you have an amazing family. Romans 12:2 says, do not conform to the patterns of this world. You will very well may leave your family rich, but you're going to leave them spiritually and emotionally broke. I don't care about leaving my family money. I'm going to do some good stuff, but I'm going to have it set up in a certain way that if they do not value what we value, then that's me dropping the ball. But this world can corrupt when they get out of the house and things like that. But we're going to set systems and processes and up to make sure we're doing our darndest from that happening. But if they do not value what we value, they're not getting our valuables. It's just not happening. Because I'm not going to just give them all of our money and they're woke. I'm not going to give them all of our money and they don't really love God and they're going to go buy all these houses and things. Where you learn hard work and you learn self-love is when you earn everything. But I just give them millions of dollars and they're going to be like, oh, well, I got the easy streak. They're not going to learn the challenges and the courage and the strength, the faith, the obedience that it takes to become that person that they need to be to create other disciples. It's just going to be handed to them. So I'm not just going to hand it to them. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave them spiritually and emotionally rich. And because I do that, they can make their own millions of dollars. And that's when it becomes special. That's what's important. I'm not worried about earthly legacy. I'm worried about eternal legacy, bringing as many people up there as I can with me. So guys, I know this is a quick one. If you want more, obviously we teach this in our coaching program. If you want in, awesome. Got amazing things happening in there right now. If not, no worries. Keep watching this podcast. Keep watching this podcast. Follow us on social media. Do all of that. It's totally cool as well. There's a link down below for coaching. And if you watch this on YouTube, please subscribe. If you watch this on any other ones, please give us a 5-star review. It really means the world to us. It really, really does. And so, guys, become that godly man. See everything as an investment. And I promise you, when God truly is number one in your life and you're giving him everything and you're dying to yourself, removing things from your life, dude, it's worth it. is worth it. Believe me. I got literally doing an men's event today in Vegas for 3 days. Dudes flying in from all over the country to come see me. Come on now. Like, just, I can just, there's a whole nother podcast. But I'm somebody who has the cred now because I sought the kingdom first. So God bless y'all. Let's make it happen.